You are playing an air-fire dual element deck. Your opening hand of Alice cards only had fire thresholds. If you want both air and fire thresholds in your opening hand, should you mulligan 2 cards or all 3? Hi everyone, this is Hayne from Wizard's Den and welcome to Sorcery TCG Tips. Today, I'll be talking about how many cards you should mulligan when you want to maximize the number of different elements in your opening hand in a dual element deck. First, I'll start from a question or a quiz that I pasted on the official Sorcery Discord. The question was this: I have an Alice deck that contains the following: 1 color out of space, 3 ruins, 5 non-elemental sites, 6 deserts, and 5 towers. My opening hand contained only fire elements. Should I mulligan 2 or 3 cards? And I put up a vote for this question. Most people voted for 2 cards followed by 3 cards. I thank you all for who voted for this question. I hypothesized that people would likely vote for 2-card mulligan, as that sounds more safe because you will be keeping at least 1 element and redrawing 3 cards might end up losing that element. As I predicted, initially there were only votes for 2-card mulligan, but later the 3-card votes increased due to some people working on the math for this question. So let's review this question carefully before I give the answer. But first, for ones who doesn't know, when taking a mulligan in Sorcery, you are able to return any number of cards to the bottom of the deck without shuffling and redraw the same amount of cards. So you can keep some or redraw everything if you want. Now back to the question. The Alice deck consists of these cards, where 4 cards are multi-element sites, 5 have no elements, 6 cards with fire elements, and 5 cards with air elements. Your opening hand only had fire elements with any combinations of non-elemental sites. So you can have 1 desert plus 2 non-elemental sites, or 2 deserts with 1 non-elemental site, or 3 deserts. The question does not specify which hand you got. So you need to account for all these conditions and come up with how many cards you should mulligan. The other note for this question is that this question is purely about maximizing the different element counts in your opening hand. It does not consider what your opening spellbook cards are, or what your spellbook's mana curves are, or what the non-elemental sites do. None are relevant. So let's go to the answer. This is a plot that shows the possibility that you will get 2 elements after mulligan with the condition given in the question. Blue is for 2-card mulligan and red is for 3-card. Probability is on the y-axis and the x-axis have different numbers of deserts. The number of non-elemental sites and multi-element sites are fixed. Only variables are the number of deserts, and subsequently the towers too, as the total Alice cards are fixed. So if there's 1 desert, there are 10 towers, and if there are 6 deserts, there are 5 towers. For our condition, we look at the value where the x-axis is at 6, and we read 79.41% for a 2-card mulligan and 80.85% for a 3-card mulligan, which makes 3-card mulligan better. The difference is only 1.44%, so numerically speaking, it must be hard to know which mulligan is better just by intuition. So let's review how these were calculated. For 2-card mulligan, which is pretty easy, you just need to consider the possibility of getting either a non-elemental site or a desert after a mulligan, and subtract that number from 1 to calculate the possibility to get 2 elements. You already drawn 3 cards, so the total number of non-elemental sites and deserts becomes 8. So you choose 2 cards from those 8 and divide that by the combination of choosing 2 from 17 cards and subtract that from 1. This one is easy, and in fact few people got the number correct on the Discord. The 3-card mulligan is not that straightforward. You need to consider 4 things. The initial site combinations, the possibility you will draw only fire elements again, the possibility of drawing only air elements, and the possibility of drawing only non-elemental sites. A describes the total combination of the initial hand. B describes the combination of drawing only fire elements with a weighing factor. C describes the combination of drawing only air elements with a weighing factor. And D describes the combination of drawing only non-elemental sites with a weighing factor. You add B, C, and D and divide by A and the total combination of drawing 3 cards out of 17. Subtract that number from 1 and you will yield the possibility of drawing 2 elements after a 3-card mulligan. Now this 3-card mulligan calculation does not consider differentiating the number of non-elemental sites in the starting hand, as that was the question. If you choose your mulligan card numbers depending on the initial hand, you can make the odds better. This was also pointed out by some of the members in Discord. Though it was not what the question asked, it is correct indeed. This table shows the probability of getting 2 elements with a 3-card mulligan, with a different number of non-elemental sites in your initial hand. You can see that if you have at least 1 non-elemental site, you can get a better possibility of getting 2 elements by a 3-card mulligan. So what can we gain from what was calculated? Well, we can do the same calculation for every condition in a dual element deck and generate a table which tells you when you should take 3-card mulligan depending on the content of your Atlas deck. And here it is. This table shows the minimum number of sites with a single element in a 20-card Atlas deck. That makes 3-card mulligan advantageous when the opening hand results in having that element only in a dual element deck. Now, I know that was a mouthful, so I'll show how to use this table. In the example I gave, there were 3 dual sites and 1 color out of space, so you look at the second column of the table. You had 5 non-elemental sites, so you look at the row that says 5. The number of sites in the intersection is 6. If the number of sites included in your deck has more than 6, and you ended up with that element only in your starting hand, it's better to take a 3-card mulligan. In the question I gave, I only had fire elements in the initial hand, with the number of deserts being 6, so the 3-card mulligan is better if I want to maximize the number of different elements, which coincides with the findings I showed. Now, as it was pointed out, depending on how many non-elemental sites you had in your opening hand, you can make the odds better. Table 2 is the same table where you had no non-elemental sites in the initial hand. Table 3 is for having 1 non-elemental site, and Table 4 is for having 2 non-elemental sites. A real situation mulligan is not always about maximizing the number of elements. It involves decisions combined with what you end up in the spellbook cards. But there will be times when trying to maximize your different element counts becomes critical. In those situations, the summary I have given to you will surely give you the edge on getting the best results. So, that's it for today's episode. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel for future episodes regarding sorcery. Thanks for watching, and until next time, have a great game.